pretty fitting for a space chat that you give us a top 10 countdown, almost like a rocket launch.
That's right. We got to fit the theme. And look, we'll come in at number 10. That's how you start all rocket launches. And it is with rocket launches. In fact, in this year, in 2020, at number 10, we saw for the first time three countries, or really three companies, launch rockets all in 24 hours. So we had SpaceX with their Starlink satellites, Blue Origin, or not Blue Origin, rather Rocket Labs, New Zealand, our friends over there, and Interstellar Technologies, three different companies all within 24 hours launching rockets. Now, that's a really big deal and something we're going to see more of next year.
And
now,
number 9?
Number 9. So number 9, we're going to change a little bit, and it's water. Yes, water in space. Confirmation that not only are there lakes on Mars, but there are 3 salt lakes underneath the ocean, as well as that cool discovery from NASA about more water, H2O, contained in the rocks. That's going to help us for future lunar exploration. Again, another big thing that we'll see in 2021. Now, shifting focus a bit for number 8, something, again, Australian scientists did, and that was help solve the problem of missing mass. So when we add up what stuff is in the universe, there's a lot of it, but we actually realize there's a big chunk of it of normal stuff, the stuff that makes up us, that was missing. And using some what we call fast radio bursts, so these are big extreme bursts of radio light, they were able to measure kind of what's in between us and that source, kind of like a magnifying glass. And they think that they have solved, or at least found, a lot of what we think as this missing mass. So a discovery that's been plaguing astronomer scientists for 50 years that may have been solved in 2020 by Australians. So
and
let's
if we
think a little.
Turn to number 7.
Yes, number 7. I was going to say number 7. We're going to go back to the moon again. That's going to be a theme next year. But China, with their Chang'e 5 probe, they are now the 3rd country that has landed on the moon, taken rocks and samples, and returned it back to Earth. So we saw this earlier this month where they went to the moon, they drilled down a couple of meters, and landed in Mongolia, as you're seeing here, with those rocks. So only the 3rd country to do that. Now let's go a little bit further from the moon for number 6. We're going to go to an exoplanet that is so extreme it rains iron. So this was discovered earlier in the year. So it's a planet going around another star, and they measured that the temperature during the daytime is about 2,400 degrees Celsius. So it's pretty hot. And on it, there's actually iron in the air. So it actually exists as a gas. So imagine a planet where iron almost exists as a gas. Now, when it gets into the colder nighttime, colder still being 1,800 degrees Celsius, it liquefies or solidifies, falls down, and rains as iron. So a pretty big deal to find that. Something we never thought of we'd ever find as well.
Certainly pretty hot there. If we keep going through this, you're up to number 5, black hole bonanza.
Yes. 3 cool discoveries around black holes this year. We found the biggest and hungriest black hole, weighing in at 34 billion times the mass of our sun, so 34 billion suns, and it eats about a sun per day. So that's a pretty big Christmas dinner that it's really hunking down on. We also discovered the closest black hole to Earth. So this was a cool discovery of seeing this black hole. It's only about 1,000 light years away from Earth, still very far away. And something I was involved with, as you're seeing here, the closest star, or really the closest black hole, being ripped up by a star. So we saw a black hole, a star get too near it, and then that black hole, what we call spaghettifies it, really rips it apart and eats it up. So that was a big discovery as well. So lots we learned about black holes in 2020. Now, for number 4, we're going to go to Mars. And this is something we're going to also see in the early this year in 2021. And so in 2020, we had 3 different missions launched to Mars. So we had the UAE launching their HOPE mission, as you're seeing take off on your screen. That will go in orbit around Mars in early February. And then China and NASA both built and launched their own rovers to Mars. So in early mid-February, we will see 2 rovers landing on Mars. So July and August, there was this kind of this conga line heading to Mars. So Mars was really center focus earlier or middle of this year with these 3 missions.
Final 3, what makes the top one for that?
Top 3. So we have phosphine, this discovery on Venus, which is a bit tedious. So a cool discovery of maybe something on Venus, but we're not quite sure what it may mean. Because there's a little bit of signs that maybe what could have been a sign of alien life maybe actually be an artifact or a problem with the data. So this will be something to watch in 2021. Does it actually exist really? But it got people really excited around Venus. Now, the second one is something big that we talked a lot about, and that was the SpaceX Crew Dragon launch with the first human launch. So SpaceX, we've heard a lot about them this year, and they achieved was something that even 5 years ago, people really didn't think was going to happen. That is a commercial company, a private company launching humans into space. This is kind of the pinnacle of space travel because you have to be safe, obviously. You need everything to work well. And so SpaceX being the first company, really the first just non-country, really just besides the Americans and Russians, to build a rocket, build a capsule, and successfully launch humans into space. That was a big deal. And then coming in at number one before our rocket takes off.
It's a local one.
That's right. It is a local one, and that is Hayabusa 2. This is something that we saw just again earlier this month, and that was the landing of this probe in South Australia. So Hayabusa 2, which is a Japanese space agency mission built, landed on an asteroid, dug down, grabbed some samples, and returned back and landed in South Australia. And this had a huge involvement in Australia, from the communications to track it, to the defense and the Australian Space Agency with the landing, as you're seeing with the recovery here, to the scientists now who are going to get their hands on these rocks to study. So, we landed on an asteroid in 2018 and 2019, dug it up, and safely returned it back to South Australia in 2020. That's a huge, remarkable achievement. And again, this is something that is not NASA or Russians doing, Japan and Australia. And we're going to see a big theme of that next year, Australia doing more and more in space.
Well, Brad Tucker, thank you. There's lots to look forward to for 2021.
Take care.